Live. Good morning, gang, and welcome to Guy Atchison's Reinventing the Tattoo community, where tattooers, apprentices, collectors, and the curious are all encouraged to join in these real-world and live stream events to share, inspire, and ultimately create better art and tattoos together. We beam out nearly every single day, and with your help, we've become a quality network of amazing live and on-demand art and tattoo-themed uh, content. You can find more at reinventingthetattoo.com. And that's my cue. I like to share. Let's see if I can share my screen with you all. Cue. Let's see. Yeah, can you see my screen?
Yep.
Excellent. If we're live on YouTube right now, you can hear us. If this is working for you, please let us know in the comments. It's always great to get confirmation, to be recognized, right? That we're that we're doing it. Right. So you can always find the latest and greatest at reinventingthetattoo.com. Yeah, cool. Um, let's see. We have an app. There's the Reinventing the Tattoo app. You can find that on at all the major places where you get your apps, App Store, Google Play Store. Um, we also have a podcast, and you can find that at Apple, Spotify. There's also a Roku channel where you can catch up on uh, all of the cataloged and library content. Library. One time I said library in a library, and I was like,
Whoa.
you're supposed to be quiet, and but I didn't hear the end of it. It was like a serious offense. So anyway, you want to put the emphasis right in the right place. You want to. Ah, great. Yeah, just heard YouTube's working. So thanks. Okay, so library, our catalog of content. You can find it on at Reinventing the Tattoo. You can find it on YouTube. You can find it on Roku. It's there for you and for free. There's so much of it that's free. So please, check it out. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. I'm scrolling through, showing. Oh, this is coming up. You can see Jason Leeser will be interviewing tattooer Terry Rivera. That's coming up today. So likely, we may lead into that later on. So be sure to check that out. Right. Just sort of scrolling through the homepage of Reinventing, and you can see some of the shows that are coming up. I always like to go down here to the event schedule, just sort of show off some of the things that we've got going on. Sundays at 1 p.m. We've got the Skill Building Sundays drawing group hosted by Jason Leeser. On Mondays at 9 a.m. we have Drawing for Tattooers hosted by James Wisdom. That's me. That's this show. You've made it. That's followed at 11 a.m. the Tattoo Weekly. And at 5 p.m. we have Let's Talk About Feelings with Robbie Ripple. 9 p.m. Easterns on Monday, there's the subscribers exclusive drawing group. We're not having it tonight. Had it yesterday, but next Monday, it'll be back. Right. So Wednesdays 1 p.m. the Tattoo Now show, and at 6 p.m. Eastern on Thursdays we have the Tattoo Collecting 101 podcast. So, right. Let's take a moment. We'd like to thank our sponsors. Let's see if I can move some stuff. Okay. Yeah. Tattoo Now. Tattoo Now has technology for tattooers of all levels. They have CRM, customer relations management tools, mailing lists, upgrades, and all sorts of things that can help you take your communication to the next level. This technology touches all aspects of your business. So yeah, check out tattoonow.com. Ask for Gabe. He'll get you hooked up. Um, and then we'd also like to thank Guy Atchison for being the founder and inspiration behind Reinventing the Tattoo. You can learn more about Guy Atchison at guyatchison.com, where you can purchase the Biomech Encyclopedia. It's an incredible book, series of books that are full of biomech imagery, as well as all sorts of content that will help you understand the genre a little bit better. Um, and of course, if it's something you're interested in integrating into your own work or practice, I think it's an invaluable sort of resource. Uh, Sometimes it's hard to, you know, sometimes it's hard to find some of this stuff. Um, and Guy has done this incredible work with, the contribution of others and collected it. So, Biomech Encyclopedia, very cool. You can also find Guy Atchison's original oil paintings, custom prints, as well as tattoo machines and other educational content. Um, right. So, yeah, I think that's seems good for me. Let me stop my share. Okay, cool. Hey, good morning, everybody. Thanks for coming.
Good morning.
Morning.
Yeah, welcome back. Welcome to Monday morning. I just got back from Hell City. So cool.
How was that?
That was amazing.
Yeah.
Um, you know, uh, so this week on Tattoo Collecting 101, uh, Fawn Baker's gonna have a total review, like she's gone, she's taken tons and tons of photos and videos and stuff. So I took a few videos, I took a few photos, but I didn't document it nearly as extensively as she did. And so, but it's Derb Morrison's, it's his convention that he is really the producer of, and Red Tree Tattoo Studio is really involved. That's his studio, and that's where Fawn works. And so anyway, it's really um, they're so they're so responsible for this great convention. And so she's going to talk about it later this week. So check that out. Um, did a drawing seminar. Had some students show up. So cool. So if you're watching and you came this weekend to Hell City, make sure to say hey. Ah, yeah. Cool. Um, and so it was a blast, and I am looking forward to going next year. And hope you all get a chance to go as well. It's there were so many great tattoo artists there too. Lots of great artwork, really inspiring. So so
Did you
yeah.
go to any of the other things that people hosted?
Yes. So I got to so a lot of people I got to meet for the first time that I interact with here on Reinventing. So that was like strange, that somebody from the internet. It's almost like parasocial, right? It's almost this parasocial relationship, but then you meet them, you know, IRL, and it's so there's a strangeness, there's points of contact. That's what Gabe likes to talk about. But yeah, meeting in person, it engages all those points. So it was very cool. Uh, get to meet some colleagues and friends, and so that was that's exciting. I think since the pandemic happened, it was it was so terrible. It affected everybody in different ways. But of course, we all realize like it you know the technology we're using now, this Zoom platform that we're all using, really sort of ramped up to an incredible sort of, it's everywhere, right? And so many people use it, like everyday people. They had to use it for their jobs, they had to use it for their schooling. And so we're using it now for this. But we now get to meet up in person too. You know what I mean? At scale, at a scale that, was sort of something that we used to do before, everything, all the pandemic restrictions were put into place. So, um, so yeah, now maybe uh, there's something good, you know what I mean, is starting to emerge out of all that stuff. So, but how
Yeah.
was everybody else's week since we last saw?
Wasn't too bad. Definitely trying out new techniques while like tattooing and stuff like that, and waiting to see how the tattoos heal to see how well it's doing. So I'm excited for that. That was pretty fun. I didn't take any pictures, so of course, because yeah, I'm smart like that. Uh, but it was a good week. It was really, really good.
That's awesome. Well, well, all right, no pictures. That's all right. But can you talk about it more? What kind of techniques were you exploring, approaching?
Well, like on the black and gray side of things, like I noticed that like sometimes when my stuff heals up, it heals up a little patchy in certain areas, and it's where I'm just like, well, what the hell? So I was watching like what is it, Ralph Nonweiler, how he tattoos, and like David Vega and everything like that, towards just like a lot more like lightly brushing on the skin type of thing. And so I really, really tried that, and there was a lot of buildup, which was pretty
What
fun.
do you do now? I'm sorry. What do you instead of the light labor? What do you do now?
Oh gosh, it was more of like making sure I wasn't stretching the skin too much, and then just kind of like pushing it like into the skin toward how do I describe it? All the way to the cartridge type of thing, to where I was using the like natural give of the skin. I was using more of that compared to yeah, making sure that my needles aren't going too deep and stuff like that. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. It does. So you were using your stretching hand to gate, like to be like, okay, this is the perfect part. And then, so I guess my other question is, if you're doing like if the other people are doing like this, is right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you doing this, or are you doing like circles?
Oh, I didn't do really a whole lot of circles. It was a whole lot of the pendulum swing, just kind of the back and forth. I mean, I guess like on certain edges, I would, hit it and just do it like one swing. But like a majority of it was just like the pendulum slowly building up, going kind of back and forth, and it was really, really fun.
So if that's what you're doing now, I'm sorry to
that's what I'm
interrupt.
trying
I
out
just
now.
really want to pick your brain. So you're trying out the pendulum now?
Oh no,
But
no,
that's
I've done the pendulum for a long, long time. It's just a different manner of doing the pendulum, I guess, in a sense.
okay. Oh, okay. So what's the different manner?
Really concentrating on making sure that I'm not going too fast. I'm a very anxious person, so I always have to battle with like going too far. Like if I was mowing the lawn, there would be gaps of like just grass that I didn't cut because I'm trying to cover too much area too quickly,
Oh,
and trying to match like my hand speed in the machine to make sure that that's going all good. But so like just really forcing myself to slow down, and really concentrating and being there in the moment to make sure that everything is going good and stuff like that. That was fun.
oh, that is fascinating. Thanks for sharing, Kyle. So
Oh,
I'm just
yeah.
asking. Oh, your question. I think your work is just like I want to say that the highlight of my week was the fact that you liked one of my pictures on Instagram. I was like, whoa, Kyle Olson, like my Instagram. Because your work is just it's phenomenal. And so that's why I wanted to pick your brain a little bit.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, and the more I learn, and the more I experience things, I definitely want to discuss it if it's cool with everybody, because like I feel like I learn so much better that way, to where it's just like, hey, what is this, because I have a really hard time articulating things, because like even like trying to describe like how the vibration feels when I'm tattooing and stuff like that. I even struggle with that type of stuff. So The more I experience, I definitely want to like discuss with everybody and see what, if there's like better ways of like describing things. But thank you for that compliment. That was very nice, Spirit. I appreciate that. And yeah, so
Definitely.
yeah. Yeah. So, shit.
So yeah, so you were saying that you had learned from your highlight. You had a highlight. I completely just forgot. So your highlight was you learned some new techniques from these artists, and you've been practicing it. And have you been seeing, have you been enjoying the what you learned?
The process of it is definitely a lot really enjoyable. Because like I said, like I have to force myself to slow down and really take my time with it. Because like the person that I learned from, and I see all these other tattoo artists, and they're just screaming through tattoos, and I don't know how they do it. I don't.
Yeah, I learned from an old school. Like my mentor he's an old school artist, and you know what I'm saying. He's like, you just get through that thing, you know what I'm saying? It's fast, solid, and get them out the door. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But styles have changed.
Mm-hmm.
Times have changed.
100%. It's just like get to the point where it's just like, yeah, that's how they tattoo, and that's what works for them. But like, it doesn't work for me. Like, I have to go slower, if I want to produce the best results that I can. I really, really got to take my time. And the kind of conflicting part of that is like trying to charge by the hour, but then like feeling like I'm going a lot slower than other people. So it's like that kind of awkward hard spots where it's just like, well, do I just do it, flat rate and make it reasonable so where I can just take all the time I want, as long as they can sit, type of thing.
Yeah. What do you charge by? So you do charge by the hour?
Yeah, I do charge by the hour right now. I definitely kick people like a free hour here and there for sure. Just to
would you mind putting in the chat what you charge per hour? Or I mean,
I do 150 an hour right now.
Okay, yeah, same. Okay, yeah,
same. Yeah. I don't like when I first moved to Tucson and everything like that. They're like, oh yeah, you need to be charging like $200 an hour. And where I was in Idaho, I was just doing 100 an hour, so basically doubling my hourly rate. And it's just like I tried that, and it was just way too much pressure because I feel like if I'm doing $200 an hour, I need to be pushing like a lot of results and covering a lot of area at like really, really high quality. But I just it's too much. I couldn't do it. So
my thing is, I think you should charge more than 150 an hour. I think you should charge. I do. I mean, I think you are definitely at $200 an hour. You know what I'm saying? Like in some places, $300 an hour. No cap. I mean, how long have you been tattooing?
How long have I been tattooing? I think this July it'll be 13 years.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah, baby. Yeah, you put in the work. You know what I'm saying? You've been at it. So I definitely agree but I agree with what you're saying, because it's like, where's the medium? You're like, where is the, you know what I'm saying? Like, it takes hours to do this, to make these tattoos look this way, and how do I make this tattoo look like this and not kill myself? You know what I'm saying? And then not scare the client away.
Because like I understand like making sure that you're making enough money to cover your bills and put money away in savings and everything like that. And it's another rough spot, because like I just want to be able to keep tattooing. I want to be able to pay my bills and make sure I'm doing okay, financially, but I want to be able to have these clients continually come back, and I want to make sure that I'm continually tattooing. I understand like, oh, if you're too busy, you're too cheap, but like, I don't know. It's just like I want to keep it fair to the clientele. I'm not here to make a buttload of money, because like money, we just rent. Like money comes and goes. Like it's not important. Like the most important thing is just like the travel, the journey of the artwork, learning how to get better, and the tattooing. Like that's the fun stuff, So I just want to make sure that I'm able to continually have clientele come back, to where I can continue working on these big elaborate pieces and stuff like that. So yeah, like
That Freddie, how long did that Freddie take you to do?
10 and a half hours. Yeah, it was about 10 and a half.
Oh, man,
It was a fun day.
I mean,
And that one was pretty fun because like it was definitely trying to really work on the skin tone itself, and really making sure that that's a value part of the piece. But like with some of the critiques that I got, like for Guy, it totally makes sense. Like I was going too light with stuff. But that's another thing we're working on, is just like making sure that I cover all the skin except for like the white highlights, and the white highlights is the open skin. I still got to mess with that a bit, but yeah, that piece was about 10 and a half hours. I get to tattoo that guy. He's traveling down in June, and we get to do a couple more horror portraits. I'm super excited. It's a really good.
oh, that's
really
cool. Kyle, I like realism.
Mhm.
Have you always done realistic art? Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
Sick.
I've always done.
Before you were a tattoo artist.
Yeah, like I did a lot of like new school kind of cartoony stuff and graffiti and stuff like that. That's the stuff that I really enjoyed. And then once I started my apprenticeship, I started getting a lot more into realism. And then like of course black and gray, I really I blended well with the black and gray when I first got in. Because it was, I didn't understand like a whole lot about color, like values and saturations and all that stuff. So like I definitely was like naturally attracted to black and gray realism. The guy that I learned from, he did a lot of black and gray realism. And yeah, it was so cool to see the artwork and stuff that he did, and how his stuff evolved and changed. But yeah. And this is when I first started using around the area of the raw whitewash sets and stuff like that. And it heals up a lot lighter than what I thought it was going to. I definitely would love to do a second pass on that Jason mask just to add a little bit more contrast to it. But yeah.
Yeah, that's great, man. Bananas.
Bananas is right.
Yeah. Do you have any have you ever had an apprentice?
Yeah. I've had one apprentice. Her name is Kat Olson. She's my wife.
Hey.
Yeah, it was cool. But yeah, I wonder if she's posted her hawk, but yeah, the wifey, she does a lot more. She loves like Art Nouveau and like neo-traditional and stuff like that. That's her jam, and it's cool to see some of the stuff that she comes out with.
That's cool. I'd love to see some of her work too. I'll check her out.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for a person that would like to do more realism, and not even do more, just be able to do it? You know what I'm saying? What advice would you give? That's dope.
Like the aspect of like, yeah, her duck.
That is rad.
I guess what was the question again?
I kind of forgot.
Advice.
About like what advice?
I was stunned by the artwork.
No, I think you said something about wanting advice about getting more into realism.
Yeah, just realism tips of, you know what I'm saying, tips and shit. The things that I can do while not tattooing. You know what I mean? Like what?
Oh, while you're not tattooing. Experiment, 100% experiment. I like it's like we can replicate pictures and stuff like that. And just replicate what we see. Gosh, how do I put this?
Take time. Wow.
Yeah,
That's
puppies.
pretty cute.
I guess. Man, that's a loaded question. I'm gonna have to think about that. Like, of course, draw and study. But like to
Just give me some homework. Give me homework.
homework. All right, cool. So, I think one thing. There's a few things that help me out with my realism. And the way that I like digitally paint and stuff like that is I would take Artigan paper, just the black like construction paper, whatever, and I would take Prismacolors, and instead of doing doing like all the shadowing and stuff like that, it flipped it. You do the light. You paint the light side of everything compared to
Wow.
shading. So mess with that. Enjoy that. And then sculpting helps.
Sculpting?
Yes. Sculpting helps. It helped me out with like light sources and stuff like that. Because that's like another thing that I think of like when I'm visually painting and stuff like that. It's just kind of like the form drawing and sculpting kind of aspect of things. So like, yeah, sculpting helped me out. And then doing the light drawing. I don't know what else to fucking call it. Sorry.
The light. Yeah, that's cool. I never thought about that.
Yeah. Oh, and like if you got a tablet, just make the screen black and then just take like airbrush or something light and build your layers up compared to just doing like a solid, just a solid brush. Definitely something that you can add layers and build stuff up. And that's like kind of like another thing with like the tattooing side of things to where you're able to I was talking to Kevin Patrick about it at the Tucson convention not too long ago. And instead of like, because like I've done, I've done the same thing to where you're like in this one area and you try to get it done right then and there. But with being able to control how deep you're going and how much trauma you're causing the skin, you can kind of jump around a little bit, kind of like if you were drawing on a piece of paper and you're just like slowly building up this value and that value and everything like that. Does it suck for the client a little bit more? Yeah, and we're sorry. We apologize, but it definitely helps everything. Good to bad.
Fruit bat.
Yeah.
Pepper shading, smooth as hell.
Yeah, she does great. I'm so excited for her because she's been at it like 4 years, 4 or 5.
Wow.
So yeah, she already blows me out of the water. Like 4 or 5 years in, like, yeah, no, I wasn't doing this much good stuff. Like it was awesome. It's awesome. It's
She's
so
standing
exciting.
on your shoulders, giant.
No, I'm so excited for like when she starts like really wanting to get into like bigger pieces and stuff like that. Like, yeah.
Well, this is very
Sharp.
That's so cool.
What?
This is so
Wow.
good. It's so cool.
It's also nice to appreciate this sort of, the technical aspects and stuff.
Yeah.
We want to learn technique. You know what I mean? And we want to. Everybody develops, a bag of tricks. Right? You get your move. There's your moves that you make. But
yeah.
But like solid technical chops, I think is they're so important. They're so crucial.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like they can really work together. And that's something I think that I feel like I want to echo what you're saying, Kyle, about, like you're doing these experiments, but you're also, you're also sort of doing what you know. And all of those things like work together. And it's like, there's this phenomenon that happens in like professional sports, like baseball, right? Like if you've ever heard of it, right? Like there's, you go up to bat and it's like all of a sudden you just can't you can't hit the ball, right? Like you're thinking, you've started thinking about everything too much, right? Overthinking.
Mhm.
You go to throw a pitch or something like that, and it's like it just doesn't work, right? You're way off to the side. Uh, there's something about like almost being almost being empty and almost being sort of like you know being in the moment, and
Mhm.
things are happening like in the background,
Mhm.
and you're not you can't think about all these things, everything that's going into what it is that you're doing.
Mhm.
You can't consciously sort of hold it. It's there, but it's not at the same time like distracting you from whatever it is that you're focused on.
Mhm.
And so again, that's why I like these different practices. You take your white paper, right, and then you draw like a really dark value study, or you go the opposite way. You do the dark, do the light on top of the dark.
Mhm.
I like to draw objects. You know what I mean? I like to think about them
Mhm.
in perspective.
Mhm.
Uh, because when I'm being creative, I want them to sort of flow naturally.
Mhm.
Um, I agree with you, with what you're saying about like something like sculpture, right? Like
Mhm.
getting your hands in there. It's it's like drawing, you know what I mean? But it is drawing, I guess. That'd be
Mhm.
how that's what I would say about it.
Mhm.
Even though we think about it as this totally separate, divorced thing, I
Mhm.
believe that it's also a form of drawing, and probably because I guess I feel like our eyes are touching stuff all the time,
Mhm.
Mm,
right? When you're
Mhm.
looking at anything, it's like you're making all of these assessments, you're analyzing it, you're judging it. It's immediate, right?
mhm,
We see an appearance, and just in its immediacy, we just experience it, and we may sort of recognize it on a certain level. But what drawing sort of forces you to do is to think about it abstractly,
Mhm.
about its there's all these forms, and there's all these planes, value, textures, light, all of that's made legible, and then maybe you could start to read its significance as a symbolic thing.
Mhm.
um, like my coffee cup, it's a cylinder, right? But it's a void.
Yeah.
It contains coffee and stuff. There's all these things that are that go into generating, like, let's call it realism, right?
Mhm.
Like
mm,
something that you want to make real for somebody, represent to somebody.
mm, mm,
Mhm.
Um, and I guess if you want to make something approach life-likeness, um, the best thing to study is life.
Mhm.
mm,
Mm-hmm.
mhm.
So if
Yes, bro.
um, when you want to study life, uh, using photographs, I think helps, right? But it's not the same as looking at life too.
Mhm.
Static
Mhm,
objects, studying figures, quick sketches, more longer sorts of measured things. I think these are all just ways uh, that we can, you know,
I,
learn more
I
about
guess
ourselves.
like in that sense of things, it's like the difference between like um the static image, like the photograph. You're just like replicating shades and shapes. But to have it from life and being like, especially something tangible, it's more of like an understanding of like, oh, well, it's this way because it does this, like on the other side, the areas that you can't see. Like it's more of like understanding what that cylinder is compared to just like replicating shades and shapes.
I
Yeah.
I I agree with you. I think what the only thing I would add to that is just simply like uh, photograph. Like there's a philosopher named Kendall Walton. He's talked about this. Like we actually look through photograph, like photographic images. There's so much in there. So like there's an exclusionary window, right? There's everything that's inside of the frame, right? And it's like you're looking through it, almost like looking, like we look through telescopes, we look through microscopes. Photograph, it's like you're actually, you're seeing through it in some way. But
Mhm.
representations are different. Representations are, they're through this human filter. And so, as you draw, as you draw something, this is funny, right? A photograph is a representation, obviously, and it's like we're sort of saying like it's more than a representation. This is
Mhm.
this is like
Yeah.
maybe like a circular thinking as far as this argument goes. But just what I'm trying to say is that like photograph fixes something statically, like you said, and so you can see it. You can sort of see how this cylinder works when you're looking at it in life, like you said, to understand it. It's like you have to like see it, and then you break your attention. You return to your drawing, or you return to your sculptural object or something, and you have to go back to it. And it's likely you're never going to get in exactly the same you know spot to
Yeah.
look at it again. It's going
Yeah.
to be slightly different in some way. But I, light changes. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like if you're daylight or something like that. You can control it more with like inside lights, but presumably I don't know. Every moment is a new one. It's
Mhm.
um, uh, but I do think that like drawing from life is really really helpful. If you want to make bring lifelike qualities to the work you're doing. And so how do you make that like make time for it and stuff? Um, I guess that's a question. Like how, like, what do any of you do? You probably everybody has everybody has bad habits. I know I do. But what about your good ones, right? What about the ones that that serve you, right? What about the habits that serve you? How does anybody, how do you prioritize that stuff? How do you put priority on the things that serve you?
I think as someone with ADHD, I schedule it like someone else told me I have to do it.
Hmm.
I like that.
So I sometimes in my calendar I schedule it like it's a meeting or something. It's like, oh, I have to have this for myself later this week or whatever, and I give
Yeah.
myself a due date as if
Hmm.
someone else told me to do it, and it's for some reason that gives me incentive to have it to do the thing more than, oh, I should do this more just because it's good for me, not just because it's a anxiety thing where if I don't have it done, they'll be upset with me.
I I've found that's been really useful for me too, as far as like like a
Hey,
set a fake due date. You know what I mean? Set one that's like have an alarm that goes off before your alarm. Like
Yeah.
and it
Good.
helps me, like uh well that's that's I feel like that's like what procrastination is like, uh, or at least that for me, like I'll put things off until the last minute, and I need that anxiety, that intense anxiety, to sort of spur me into action. So if I simulate it, then I'm able to work on it again, and maybe by extension, like doing that, infinitely, you start to put in place those better habits. You know what I mean? You draw a little bit every day, but even though it's not uh, it may not seem like it's this specific like thing for your job. Let's say
Mhm.
you're still practicing things that are really be really useful. So
Mhm.
um, yeah, no, I'm so interested in what you all what all you do. You know what I mean? To help yourself, right? How do you get the you know get the most out. Like that was something that theme kept coming back to was like, living to the fullest, right? Doesn't mean like, doesn't mean it's all pleasurable, right? Like living to the fullest is getting the most out of things is probably, growing, right? And growing is painful.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to, like, you don't want to just say like it's um I'm into, like maybe some people like are into pain, but but some people, but I guess what I'm saying is like, you you want to like live by that living to the fullest, but you just totally understanding that it's not about all positivity. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, uh, too
Sometimes it's
much
about making the
positivity
you
could
of
be
tomorrow
toxic.
better.
What's that?
Mm-hmm.
What'd you say? Please repeat.
Oh, sorry. Sometimes it's about doing something painful today so that you can be better tomorrow.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
I completely get that.
It's climbing that mountain,
Yeah.
you got that goal, and it's going to be some trials and errors, and it's going to be rough, but it's for the betterment, you just said.
Have you all heard of like Sisyphus? You ever heard of the story of Sisyphus?
The name is familiar.
Well, it's it's the Greek mythology. Sisyphus was condemned by the gods, probably Zeus or somebody, I don't know. But anyway, Sisyphus was this dude. He got condemned to roll a rock up a hill. And so
Okay.
that's what he does all day. Rolls the rock up the hill, and he gets to the top of the hill, and then the rock rolls back down. So he's got to go roll the rock back up the hill. Um, that's you know what I mean? That's like this day in and day out. You're just it's nonstop. Uh, and so that's the curse, right? The curse is
Mm-hmm.
this labor. But at the same time, um, we can imagine Sisyphus being happy, right? You're happy with your happy with what you're being tasked to do, um, and I think that's we might get enjoyment, right? At like with the rock rolling away. You know what I mean? Like so you that if we take that metaphor all the way, right? You work so hard to get it up the to get finished, right? To complete the task, you get the rock up the hill. Um, but then yeah, then it gets away. Just you have to start over again. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so these are the things that I think are these metaphors and these sorts of like these stories, they help us, maybe cope a little bit with that. Sort of like knowing that it's never going to be done, right? It's this thing that's
Yeah.
always because that's the thing, it's like we want to get better at our craft, you know what I mean? But I'm sure personally that I'll never feel satisfied like I've done it.
Yeah.
Every time
Mhm.
if I achieve something or if I fail at something or whatever, it's kind of like, um, you know, I, it's not enough, right? You gotta keep going. You have to try to keep improving. Um, didn't fail hard enough, maybe. You fail better, right? Try to fail
Mm-hmm.
again better. Those are all sorts of like I think they're important, right? It's important to to sort of um, to be able to deal with it, right? Especially like when we admire someone and we're like really looking up to their work, um, just realizing that they're also this divided subject, right? They're not complete. They have their own insecurities and stuff as well, um, and it's probably if somebody doesn't if they don't consciously think they have them, then they're in the worst. If you don't consciously have it, you're in the worst spot. You know what I mean? Because you have it. You just you're in despair. You just don't. realize it. So it's I think it's what's good is to is to really be inspired by others in certain ways, but then when you're looking at your own work, the criticality that comes in is that you are really comparing yourself to your last, to yourself.
Hmm.
Am I improving in this way? Not compared to somebody else, but
Mhm.
easier
Yeah,
said than easier said than done. I won't lie.
yeah, yeah,
I think it's the hardest thing to do.
yeah. It's definitely that fine line because you want to like look at inspiration and look at other people's artwork and stuff like that. But comparison is such a thief. It is such a thief.
That's a thief, Kyle.
Yeah,
It's a
is
thief.
such a pain in the
They
butt.
probably don't even think that they're that good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, no, no.
You know?
That's the journey, man. Like,
Yeah, when I start comparing my stuff to other people's, it just makes me miserable. But if I compare my stuff to what I did the day before,
Right.
I
Mhm.
see my progress.
Yeah, that's real.
100%, 100%. Because I think in that situation, to where if you just compare it to yourself, you can have a lot more love, a lot more understanding, a lot more forgiveness and stuff like that to yourself. Which again, easier said than done sometimes, because I don't know about y'all, but like super critical of myself and my artwork, type of thing. I've been trying to get better about it, of course. You don't want to sit there and trash yourself all damn day. But where was I going with that? Good talk. Somebody else want to talk? My brain left me. So
No, you good, bro. I mean, just ramble. Like, yeah. Okay, so I'll throw something in there. I've been watching anime lately. But so this is kind of big for me because I've never been able to actually sit down and watch it, but like my clients watch anime. You know what I'm saying? Like so many people are getting anime tattoos, and there's just such this big culture about it, and so I'm kind of excited because I'm just like, okay, so if I can watch anime, then I am investing in myself because I'll be able to make money off of watching this. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's when I sat my butt down and just went ahead and started the first season of Demon Slayer. And I'm like, I'm all in, buddy. I'm all in.
Demon Slayer is a good one.
Hey, awesome. Cool. I'm having fun. Me and my wife started watching it last night.
Nice.
I'm an old school Studio Ghibli fan.
Hey.
From like back in the 80s.
Everybody in anime.
Hardcore all in. Yay!
That's good stuff.
I'm drawing a piece from it now.
I have a Kiki delivery service tattoo and a Spirited Away tattoo.
Oh my God. Oh,
that's awesome. That's so cool. And it's like, I don't know, like it builds more of a connection to the piece that you're doing.
Right.
Have like, oh, well, it's this way because of this, and this happened in the storyline and yada yada. Like, there's so much more of a connection, and you can make it so much more authentic compared to just grabbing some pictures. It's a lot more time. It takes a lot more time to invest into it, but like, it's so worth it at the end. Like sometimes when you're designing a piece or drawing a piece or making a painting, like creating a story about it helps out. Just helps push that creativity a little bit more. That connection to it makes it so much more fun.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I definitely agree. And then, because just like you said, you could just, you could take, and the thing is, when you're watching it as an artist, you're not watching it like everybody else is watching. You're watching like, wow, what makes the scene so amazing? Why is it so dynamic? Why am I, you know what I mean? Like, and you're like, oh, I like how they did that color. That's a really nice, you know what I'm saying? Like, you watch it differently. You know what I mean? It's exciting.
I do that with old school Disney movies.
Yep.
Because like Peter Pan is my favorite because the artwork is so amazing. All the backgrounds and everything. It's just stunning artwork.
Yeah.
Especially back when they used to do it by hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even old school Scooby-Doo.
Right?
Yeah, old school Scooby-Doo. All the backgrounds were hand painted, all the swamps and everything. And that's amazing art.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so cool to like all these shows and the movies and everything like that. Like for the longest time, I never like put two and two together. It's like, oh, hey, artists are putting this stuff together. You know, like there's a lot of composition and color theory and everything. And it's just like, well, shoot, I've got all this studying material right in front of me. Like I can just pause this movie whenever and then just look at the composition because like people are in certain spots in the landscape and the color of their outfit is that color specifically to go with like to make sure it contrasts with the background correctly and stuff like that. So nothing like, yeah, it's everywhere. And it's in all media. It's so cool.
Yeah. And to add to that, I think Andy Warhol is the key. And what I mean by that is I think that he was the artist that was like, oh, so advertisers are using ancient art techniques in their products. And so he started putting like the Brillo pad. He took the Brillo pad and put it in museums. Like, this is art. This is art. An artist made this, you know.
Huh. Yeah.
Go. Could you talk more about that, Spirit? I'm fascinated with that. You know, where you're headed with that.
It's a theory I have.
Mm-hmm.
And the theory is such that, you know, he was a student of just ancient like art history. I mean, his background was, if I'm not mistaken, his background was kind of just like, you know, Renaissance art. He was he was a devout Christian. And then, can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. And so he realized one day that our icons, you know, Marilyn Monroe, Michael Jackson, Mao, these are our new saints. Because back in the day, the artist would draw the saints, and the artist would paint the saints, and those would be the people that, you know, people would worship or herald, if you will. But him living in today's times, he was like, oh, well, our celebrities are the saints now, and so that's why he, you know, painted you know, these famous people, and also such that, you know, he would even like the compositions, like let's just say, for instance, he would look at a Raphael painting and see, okay, well, these colors, if I took these same colors and put them on a soapbox, then people are going to look at my soapbox quicker than they would at this other soapbox. And so he was just thinking, he was like, this is art. Like, this is the same thing. And so I just say that he's the key because he was the one that kind of, for me anyway, kind of put it together that it is the ancient styles and traditions and things that are put in place today in modern advertising in order to move the subconscious to do things like buy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. There's a lot in there. What, you know, with what you're saying, and I guess I just I
It's
also
a theory of mine.
I recognize. I was just gonna say I recognize Andy Warhol's brilliance as well. I just it's so interesting to, you know, to get another take on it. You know what I mean? And I do.
What do you think?
I do like that idea about the icons, the iconography and stuff like that. And it's so, you know, culturally, I think there's so much, you know, parallels, right? Like how we venerate, right? We do, you know, we do sort of see things in a certain way. Yeah, and it's so psychological, right? There is so much psychology that we use. We deal with, probably, like, you know, just to sort of get back to, you know, what you were saying about like anime as well as being, you know, culturally significant. You know, it's this skillfully encoded thing, within this, sensuous media. Like we could see it and stuff, or even sculptures and stuff. There, you could feel them, or you could touch it. And yeah, so it is art. It's this viable art form, and I think people would dismiss it at your peril, right? And you're missing out. You know what I mean? If you totally dismiss it, and you're missing out if you dismiss modern art, like Andy Warhol. Just sort of, you don't have to. It doesn't have to be your favorite. You know what I mean? But like if you can appreciate arts, tattoos and stuff. Not everybody is into tattoos. Um, uh, but it's a fine art, right? The fine art of tattooing. Not every tattoo is a piece of fine art, but it does reach that level. I really, and that's what I love so much about our conversations. We were able to sort of take these threads and tie them together, and we're all coming from different places. I guess this is episode 52, so it's 1 year. We've been doing this a year. I'm like, I'm super proud. Thank you. And I also, I guess I'm thinking about like, where I was at, just, in my life, my spirit a year ago. I have, I've definitely progressed a lot. It's not linear progression. Thank you. Yeah, it's not linear progression though. There's a lot of sort of, two steps back, one step forward, this sort of a thing. But I'm so grateful for all of you. You've been sharing your Mondays with me, and you keep coming to this. I think that it's a valuable thing for me, and it's a valuable just a valuable space where I learn. I know that I'm learning from all of you, and I'm also I'm inspired to sort of think about topics and things to talk about. I guess if y'all have a few minutes, there was a couple of like art stuff, art things, drawing things I was going to talk about. Does anybody want to do that?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
I might need to
Heck
hop
yeah.
off in a minute, but I hope everybody has fun.
Yeah, thank you.
All
Thank you,
right.
Elise,
Have a
for
good
Hope you have a
coming.
great day.
Have a good one.
See you next time.
See ya.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm going to share. I'm going to share my screen and just sort of go over some things that I was thinking about. Again, we're talking about like is it gonna work? Screen share. Hold up. Technical difficulties. Try one more time.
Wouldn't be a Monday without them.
I know. No, that I definitely know. Let's see. Will you work this time? Oh, I know what's going on. Hold up. All right. This was my fault. Of course. Yeah, there we go. Cool. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate your patience. Okay, so and hopefully I've got some battery life left in this pencil. Right. So this was something that I was, again, looking back 1 year, right? But at the same time, thinking about, perspective, this, seeing and things. And so, uh, two things to cover quickly, and I hope this makes sense. And you can always, I guess, you can go back and watch this if I don't explain it as well. So I'm gonna just draw. That's not a good pen. How about this one? Okay. So just drawing let's just draw like, might be like a box shape or a rectangle shape. Forgive the crudeness. Okay, right? Well, if I wanted to, so for instance, double this amount, right? I can divide it up, right? So let's see. 1, 2, right? And now I've got the center, right? Center of this thing. Also got the center this way. Okay, so if I would draw from this corner here through this middle point here, diagonal line, right, where it intersects with this baseline here, this is the new, this is like the new halfway point, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've doubled up this amount, right? That's the concept, right? That's the concept I just wanted to sort of provide. Let's size this down. Hopefully that makes sense, right? It's basically like this is the, we found the center of, twice this amount, right? By finding that point. Okay. So if you want to think about it in terms of perspective, let's see, I'll make that just a little bit smaller. I want to think about it just in terms of perspective. We can take an amount, right? So let's say, let's find our eye level, right? So eye level. Okay, we'll take a certain amount, right? And whatever, there's a vanishing point right there. So again, forgive how crude this is. I hope this will serve you. All right. So let's imagine, right, that this plane here, right, is, it could be a wall, right, or it could be like telephone poles, or I don't know, any sort of object you like to imagine. Well, if we want to, let's say, double that amount, right? Again, so we can find the center point. Again, it'll be right. We go from this middle here, right, to our vanishing point down there. That'll give us the center of this. I will let me edit it. Again, I'll try to sketch it. It's fun to sketch this out on paper, right? And it's a little bit rough and stuff like that. But again, I think thinking about perspective and just sketching it out, I think can be really valuable. In part because at a certain point, like all these construction lines and stuff, they're like training wheels, and then you start to not need them. If that makes sense, right? It's like all this technical lines and stuff all over the place. It can be really sort of challenging, but again, you learn to use them, and then at a certain point they fall away, and then your eyes start seeing these things. Okay, so
that's cool.
right there. That's the point that I want to go for. I'll use a different color to hopefully to highlight this. So again, I'm going to go from this corner. You can use any corner you like, right? But I'm gonna go exit through that point. So draw a line. Okay, yeah, there it is. We've like done it, right? We've successfully doubled this amount in perspective. Right? And then, so again, we can sort of just do it again. Now we've done it again. And you can go on dividing the line, as it were, right? Towards infinity. Right, that sort of a thing. And so this is, again, you might sort of use this sort of geometry to divide things. You might find that effective. You might find it as useful for you. You may find that you want to sort of divide things a certain amount of times, or I guess, or even like, even here, like with this one, if you were to continue to make it, forgive the crudeness, right? You could, I need to make 5 sections or something like that. I know that sucks, that drawing, but that's the thing. You know what I mean? Like if you had a back, let's say, you want to divide it into 5 equal parts for some reason, just to sort of give yourself a grid to start to work on. You can this can be helpful, right? And then again, there might be this sort of there might be this sort of like um, capacity that you develop that may actually help you start to see things differently when you're using photographic reference, right? You start looking for angles, you start dividing things up in certain ways. um, that's this is a part of why I think that the sort of perspective practice can be useful. um, you may sort of it may help you when you're trying to draw from life in certain respects. Maybe not that you're actually laying things out in perspective, but that it's again you've sort of you're not thinking about it consciously. It's sort of functioning in the background, like almost like a software that's running. So um, this is the all of that, all of that um, for this really sort of fun I think application. And so again, I'll sketch through this again. Forgive the roughness, but so looking up and looking down. So I'll draw a frame. All right. And I'm just going to lay out a few like square shapes, maybe some rectangles and stuff. But I'm not going to put them all on a bit of an angle. All right, so they're square, right? Roughly, more like 90 degrees. Sorry, like 90-degree angles if you can. Um, Again, I'm thinking about them in terms of like they're in a plan. Uh, why not? Okay, so I'm going to imagine that these are the tops of skyscrapers, of buildings that I'm looking at. And I'm going to put a vanishing point, just a point. The thing that I think that this pertains to is when wherever we're looking, right, our eyes are a certain height, right? There's always a level to our eyes. Now, what's also interesting is that straight above you, like going straight up, there's another point. So same thing. So if I'm looking straight ahead, there's going to be a eye level, and there's always like a point where my vision is sort of going towards. Same thing if I look straight up, there's another one, right? It's called the zenith, right? Maybe you've heard the term before, the zenith.
Mhm.
Well, in this example, what I'm showing is the one that's like below you, right? So just like there's one above, there's also one below, and that one's called the nadir, right? It's just the low, it's just there's another point. This is like Cartesian coordinates, if you like, the XYZ axis, that sort of a thing. Anyways, so here's the fun part, right? So I've got these. I'm calling them these squares, this rectangle and squares. Again, forgive me how bad they are, but that's this. Follow the concept. I'm imagining like a bird that's flying overhead, right, or or even Superman flying. And so when you're flying over the city and you're looking down, then you see these buildings. And they start to again right angle, and I'm gonna go for try to hit like a right angle. I mean, you can make them. I mean, you can make them like really tall if you like, but really tall. But so parallel, this line and this line, they're parallel to each other. Oh, I can't. I'm not going to see that other side, that back side. Same thing over here. I'm going to have like this edge going towards that vanishing point, that nadir. At some point, there's again parallel to this one, as parallel as I can. And now, it's pretty rough. Oh. So now I've got these prisms, right? They're standing up. And so if I wanted to, say, add a few, like windows or something to it, I could again, like, put an edge and then find how to divide that equally amongst that space, right? So do that calculation. across. And that'll be the, I'll use green for this, yeah. And that will be the calculation from here to here to there. It should come out the same over, from both ways, but I don't know if I don't know if it'll be equal with the amount of space I've given. That would be, I could always end it a particular way, but why not? Yeah, sure.
How cool
So
is that?
those are like equal distant, scroll back a little bit. Now I've sort of divided that space. So it created some space and then divided it in in an equal distant way. And so, again, you can always eyeball it, but hold on a second. Let's get it back in. Here we go.
That's so cool.
Thank you. No, I really enjoy this this technique, and so give me one second while you all are here, and I'm gonna try to, hopefully this isn't interrupting stuff. Oh, let's see, not that. Oh, wait. No. Thank you for your patience. Thank you. Right. So here we go. Cool. And I'm gonna stop the share and share this. Okay. So again, I this is a book that I really strongly feel is it can be a really important book for your your understanding of perspective. It's very sort of user friendly, and there's a lot of really, I think, the illustrations are beautiful, and even that's the thing. I think it's myself I had a hard time with, and other and students and stuff. They're just sort of starting out and like learning perspective. That I think, especially like you watch videos or something like, or this one, this demonstration, it might seem too basic. Maybe it even seems like it was too difficult. But here I'm going to jump to this section. Let's see, where is this section I want to highlight? Thank you all for your patience. Yeah, so Ernest Norling's Perspective Made Easy. Really understand eye level. You know what I mean? I think it's such a such an important concept. And to have, that dividing spaces thing I showed you, he really goes into depth into that. 175. Let's check it out. Oh, up and down points. Right. So they're beautiful. This is the same thing that I was just demonstrating, right? It's like, what a powerful composition. You can almost imagine like whatever it is that you would want to, sort of create. Again, there may be, you may like work more organically, but I think again you could also integrate some of this understanding into, your context, right? And you may not even have to go through all of the, drawing all of the lines and stuff and all the points. But I think doing the exercise a few times, you know what I mean, helps you develop a relationship to drawing spaces, drawing objects in them, making things appear, within a certain proportionality that helps to convey the thing that you're trying to convey. So this is that up. Right? You're looking up, right? So you're laying on your back, right? You're looking up at your ceiling at the corner, right? This is a one-point perspective. All of the vertical lines are now, appearing to converge to a point. So again, like, so everybody's probably in a room space right now. As as you're standing upright, or you're sitting up in your chair, you can look around all the edges. Like, you can see all the lines on the wall board behind me, right? They're all very vertical, right? But as I look to the corner of the room, you know, I'm going to see some corner, right, where it's at a diagonal, right? So all of the vertical lines are vertical, right, and the horizontal lines in this case are, they're generally, if they're seen in perspective, they're going to be at a diagonal, sort of, like converging to a point at the eye level. But again, there's that zenith, right, in this case, where you're sort of, all right, now I'm looking up, and and all the vertical lines are now they've transitioned, right, from being vertical to now they're appearing to, parallel lines appear to converge. That's the contradiction, right, that you have to hold when you're sort of thinking about perspective. Like, parallel lines, they're not seen that way. You know what I mean? You understand them to be, in reality, they're parallel. But what can be so fascinating, I think, and what brings forth the illusion, right, is sort of engaging with that contradiction, right? They are parallel, but you can't draw them that way, right? It ruins the illusion. So anyway, right. So here, I think it's going to be this is the, that's the example, basically what we were just talking about, like how you're seeing things. And so it's funny. It's like, so if your head is level and you're looking, you're looking forward, we see things, we call it 1-point perspective or 2-point perspective. There's a lot of that. If you look directly ahead, right, again, same thing. It goes into this 1 or 2-point perspective, depending on how you're looking. Same thing straight down, right? But when you go like 3/4 up, right, you kind of, right, or 3/4 down, now you're talking about something that would be called 3-point perspective. It's it's like when you still have the horizontal lines going to to a point, but then the vertical ones also start to go to. So it's really kind of it's very challenging to draw in 3 points, 5-point perspective. It's all very challenging. And again, none of it's true. It's not. It's not like the most accurate thing, or it's not true, and it can tie you up. But I think kind of working with it can be useful and helpful. That's why I talk about it. That's why I think it's I think it can help you. You know what I mean? It helps. It certainly is helpful for me. So all right, here's that. This is looking up. Hold on, I'll go to the looking down one here. Yeah, a much cooler drawing than I made, but this is the concept, right, that we were just sort of talking about. You have, this these just squares, right, rectangles, but then you're considering, how they can relate in terms of like a depicting a space. And so it's probably a similar, you probably did a similar exercise like in high school or something, maybe like where you drew like looking down a road or something, and there's buildings and stuff, right? 1-point perspective. This is that, but sort of turned on its head, so to speak. This can be so powerful, right? I'm just thinking about like, comic books I've seen or anime I've seen, right? So dynamically composed, right? And it's sort of like the colors, yes, the figure and anatomy, yes, right? But sort of thinking about like the space that you can create, how you can compose that in a dynamic way. I think these are these are tools that you can sort of add to your bag of tricks right away. Because it's simple, simple concept, but again, it's like work with it a little bit and make it your own. And then at a certain point, it just becomes something that you sketch. When I think about someone like Kim Jong-ji, if you all are familiar with, with his artwork, um, he was always sort of drawing in, sort of this like very dynamic, almost like 3-point sort of thing. The perspective would flow, from it. He wasn't all caught up on it, but like, but a part of that was like he did all this work. You know what I mean? He really put in all this effort um, in order to let it go, right? And then so here was that other one, that like that looking up one. Back up a little bit. It's like it's so like massive. Looking up and looking down. Right. So, you know, this might, that point where all the vertical lines are appearing to converge to a point, right, above the viewer's head, right? In this instance, that might not be in your composition. It might be outside of it or something like that. But again, it starts to suggest this incredible scale. I guess I was, been drawing so much Biomex stuff all weekend. That's like, hanging out with the reinventing crew. It's like, that's like, everybody wanted to draw it all the time and stuff. And, I'm just thinking about like, yeah, like I could almost kind of see this sort of translated into that sort of an aesthetic. It's really sort of gnarly things, but all kind of like conveying this idea of, looking up, right? Sort of looking up at something, that's a very, very massive. Right. And so yeah, getting a new perspective on stuff, right? That's the thing. I like to be cheesy. So, but that's the thing that I was, thinking about today. That's the thing I was thinking about today was, I was trying to like kind of consider perspectives and again, like be able to find your place like through measurement. I think is also really useful. So that dividing space, you know what I mean? Just being able to sort of generate as many, sorts of like units, if you like, without a ruler. I mean, the ruler I would use as an edge to sort of draw, like and making measurements with, with the ruler is important and stuff. But like, you know, again, if you're dealing with a body, we do that so much in tattoos. It's like you're dealing with a body. It's like, you may look for like anatomical markers of, again, like super crucial, right? But you may want to sort of divide things up. We probably do that naturally. Sort of think about the spine or something like that as being this center point if we're gonna, do something across their back, or maybe like the sternum. You know what I mean? It's like we see that center and we generate like in our imagination this, breaking the units down into to different, you know, partial objects, right? The body is as all of these different like segments. Um, so when we get back onto our paper and we start thinking about like how we're going to, um, you know, compose things, how we're going to, uh, you know, uh, make these measurements, doing these exercises, letting it run in the background, I think uh, can be something that like serves you. That's something that kind of, again, it's like not like you're overthinking it and it's like it's ruining everything that you've got going on. It's something that like, you know, that starts to be like like a muscle that you've developed, right? You've worked it out. So all this being said, I don't have the painting to show out. I can describe it. It was a painting and it had two distinct sort of eye levels in it, right? There was, they were both, horizontal. One was below the other one. It was such an incredible, beautiful painting, such an incredible artwork. So, all this like sort of like there's only one eye level and yada yada yada, and something that I think I used to be so like adamant about, something that was so like important to me for some reason, but it turns out it's like, you know what? Um, it's so good to challenge your notions and maybe even like contradict. Maybe it's good to contradict what you think is the case sometimes. So
yeah, it's testing those things out, like, hey, I think it's this. Well, let's see what evidence I can come across to come to this resolution type of thing. It's 100% needed,
I thank you so much. I that's That's exactly. I'm coming to that, right? I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to get there. And so, yeah. Well, all right. Thank you all so much for, for like letting me talk about that. Hopefully that's not something that it was like, oh God, I already know all that shit. You know what I mean? But hopefully it was something that, if if you're more interested, if it's something that you really, what's that? I didn't
What's
hear you.
that? I didn't hear.
Oh, echo.
Oh.
We got like something technical going on with Spirit's phone. Would love to hear you, Spirit. So I'm not sure how to. If you want to come back, like you want to leave.
Oh, I'm not saying anything. I was
Oh,
just gonna. Is there an echo?
there was, but I think you got it figured out.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm just driving. That's all. I'm driving to the shop. I'm just here. I was just gonna unmute myself. I wasn't gonna say anything though. Great. This is fantastic. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, seriously. That's stuff like that. Just little things. It's so helpful. It's so cool, and to like
Yeah.
see how we can take this like 1 point, 2 point perspective and see where else, we can find ourselves using it, like other useful like little things. Like it's so awesome. It's so cool. Thank you for sharing that, James.
Thank you, Kyle, so much for sharing your work today, talking about it, talking about your experiments. This was really like so for me, I know it was you know, uh, probably just regular Monday for everybody, but for me it was really special because, like I said, it's been 1 year, um, and I love this. I love this show. I love this experience that we're all sharing together. I'm so grateful for all of you for coming, and so I hope you keep coming back. And of course, like let me know if there's any subjects that you'd like to talk about. If you'd like to present, I'm always interested. Um, I'm always interested in like making things more uh, just sharing, right? Being a group. And so I invite all of you to, let me know, right? Contact me. Let me know if there's anything that you're interested in talking about, or if you want to talk about it. Um, let's keep it going, right? Here's to a whole nother year. So
Absolutely.
let's do some sign offs, right? And we'll get going. Spirit, could we give us your sign off? I know you're busy driving. Tell us what you can tell us.
Okay, yeah. I appreciate y'all so much. I just can't tell you enough how much this show has helped me. I mean, just sitting around other artists and talking about art, it has enriched my life in just untold ways. And I remember the first time I came on the show, I was like, man, I really hope this show helps me as much as I need it. And it's not about the one show or the two shows. It's the exercise. It's the getting up every day and working on art, and just it's the process, and yeah, I look forward to Monday every day, Monday morning, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I appreciate you for doing the show. And here's to 10 more years. And then maybe we can even get it monetized. Hey, not that it matters. Put some money in your pocket, you know what I mean? But yeah, so my sign off is Tattoos by Spirit on Instagram, Tattoos by Spirit on TikTok, and tattoosbyspirit.com.
Thank you so much, Spirit. It's like as a pleasure. It's always. And yeah, no, thank you so much for your kind words, and of course your presence. It's just like um, it's I don't know. It's for me. So I yeah. So same, right? I feel the same way. Everything you said, I second that emotion. So thank you so much.
Well,
All right, Amber, let's have your sign offs.
Hey, everybody. My name is Amber Morgaine. You can find me at Luxury Tattoos in Egg Harbor City, New Jersey, and on all social media platforms under Amber Morgaine. thank you so much for doing perspective today. A lot of the things you go over, I haven't really been over since high school AP art class. So they're a great refresher. And I'm like, you know what? I haven't been incorporating that into my artwork. I really should. And it's really taking me very far.
It's the basics, man. Just rehashing these basics over and over again. This is so great.
And yeah, you need to do that in order to progress.
Yeah, no, I do. You know, I love being repetitive. That's me. Look, everybody. I won't lie. Was incredible at the. I'm not going to pretend like I'm famous or something. But people that I've never met before, they said they've like seen us, on the show, other tattooers, and they're like, "Thank you so much." The same thing you just said, Amber. Like that, these basic things are helpful.
Yes.
And I just, I think I'm so grateful for that. So grateful for you, and I'm grateful for for everybody that watches and gets something out of it. For me, there was just something that I saw as a need, in the students that I taught. And when I went to go try to help them, I realized like I'm the one that needs the most help. You know what I mean? So all these like I'm rehashing this stuff and being repetitive. It's like this is what I need to do too. And so it's why I'm talking about it. It's like because I need to work on all of it. Realism, shading and rendering and like drawing the figure and drawing spaces and making anything interesting at all. It's what I'm working on. And so that's why I'm so grateful that you all are here to share it with me and everybody else out there that checks it out too. So I'm just, that's it means a lot. It means so much. So thank you, Amber. Really appreciate you. Kyle, let's get your sign offs.
My name is Kyle Olson. I tattoo out of Trinity Art Collective in Tucson, Arizona. If you want to reach out, you can get a hold of me at Olson_tattoos, OLSON, and trinityartcollective.com. And I just want to say congratulations on 1 year, James. I've watched it for a while before I started joining it and everything like that. And it's cool to see it evolve and it grow. And it's so helpful. It's so needed. It's so necessary. And it makes my Monday is so much better. So I thank you for doing this. I greatly, greatly appreciate it.
Wow, Kyle, thank you so much, man. Well, I'm so glad you decided to hop on. It's again, it's like hearing your voice, hearing your, like your experience, your expertise on things. But I think what I get from you too, something that I find, helpful is like you will make yourself vulnerable. You share your work and you put it up for criticism. It's something that, I know I need to do more of. And it's something that, we should all like sort of, we should all sort of do that, right? And get more, put ourselves out there more. And that's what you're doing. And that's what, so I'm inspired by that. So thank you so much for coming and for your kind words and for everything you contribute to the show. And just appreciate you. So thanks again for coming.
Thanks,
it's been great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, thank you all for spending some time with us. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe. Thanks again to Reinventing for making it possible. It's been a cool, amazing experience. I would say, we changed the adjective there, right? It's like amazing. A whole year of doing this. And so yeah, I can't wait to do next week. So yeah, next week we will do something that will be exceptionally fun. So I can't wait. Make sure to come back. I'm James Wisdom. You can find me Tattooing Wisdom, social media, and my website tattooingwisdom.com. This has been Drawing for Tattooers. Thanks everybody. Happy drawing, and we'll see you next stream.